Hi there, Colin Griffin is my name. I'm the guy from e-commerce Ireland. I founded the group back in November of 2012, and the aim of the group really is to, I suppose, help people to sell online better and get generate better results from selling online. And our August event, I gave a talk myself at the August event. Usually get guest speakers in, and basically I just wanted to give a seller's perspective of, based on my own experiences, on how to generate online traffic to your website. And I suppose really what I'm going to present is based on real Google Analytics results. I own a small business, an online business called Purchase.ie, and essentially I sell energy saving products and products that help to conserve water and ultimately help people to reduce their bills. That's my specialty online from a selling point of view. So basically, just rather than having everybody having to listen to an hour-long presentation, I've broken it down into 5 parts, and this is the first part. It's just going to be an intro, I suppose a bit about my own experiences, the do's and don'ts. There's plenty of don'ts on the things that I've done in the past 3.5 years. Then in part 2 I'm going to go on about generating traffic through on-page search engine optimization. Basically I'm going through Google Analytics reports for my own business, and I suppose just outlining how much traffic is being generated, and breaking down ultimately what percentage of traffic is coming from where. Part 3 we're going to be looking at on-page search engine optimization, which is like it's like online PR strategy really. Part 4 is about just generating direct traffic and traffic through referral sites, and part 5 is then generating traffic through things like email marketing and search engine marketing. What I mean by that is essentially things like Google AdWords. So I suppose the first thing I would like to say is this presentation does come with a health warning and an antisocial warning. Ultimately, I suppose what I mean by that is that what I got myself into 3.5 years ago, I didn't realise how much there was to it. So ultimately, I suppose when I founded Purchase.ie back in November 2009, I had very little technical skills. I was able to send emails and receive emails and stuff like that, but I wasn't a very technical guy. To make matters worse, I had no retail experience, so buying products and selling products and stuff like that, I had no experience with that. My background was actually advertising sales, and I suppose there was an element of arrogance on my part, thinking if you can sell something that doesn't guarantee any results, I mean, selling something physical that you hand over to somebody should be easy, and nothing is easy. Selling online is not easy, and ultimately I guess you're going to learn a lot on your journey. I suppose the third thing was I wouldn't have realised to have an impact on how big a budget you really needed. I had a very, very limited budget when I started the business, and if I was to do it all again, I would certainly be looking to raise more money in advance of going into the business. And I suppose the one thing I did have was I had plenty of energy and plenty of attitude, and I suppose it's testament to how I suppose the business is still going and generating new business every day. And I guess really it's been down to hard work and perseverance, and I guess many people do give up a lot easier than what I did. So I mean, really, when I say a health warning, I just want to kind of tell you like a little bit about my job and what I have to do on a day-to-day basis. I guess I would be responsible for creating all the content that goes up on the site. I only write original content. I don't take information from elsewhere and copy and paste it. I don't believe in that. I take care of uploading the content to the site and managing the site, optimizing the content for the search engine traffic. I look after email marketing, video marketing, press releases, PR campaigns, chasing backlinks from external sites, analysing online traffic, and what the user experience is like, and I suppose ultimately updating pages that have a high bounce rate and low sales conversion rate. What I mean by that really is bounce rate is essentially when somebody arrives on a page on your website, looks at that page and leaves your website straight away. It basically means that they're probably not really engaging with your website. They don't trust it, perhaps. They don't think that it's not appealing to them. They're not engaged essentially. And low sales conversion rate is if basically a page on your website is generating a lot of traffic but very little sales, there must be something about that page that is turning people off. It might be price, it might be just you might not be describing the product very well. It could be a whole element of things, but you've got to assess all these things regularly and make the relevant changes. I also look after social media accounts, Purchase.ie eBay shop. I deal with sourcing new products, ordering products, paying suppliers, processing orders, creating delivery dockets, packing orders, managing stock, accounts for the business, creating invoices, dealing with revenue, dealing with banks, dealing with trade customers, wholesale accounts. I organise and manage competitions and promotions, the creation of brochures, print adverts, pay-per-click advertising campaigns, answering the phone, replying to emails, and so on. There's an awful lot to it. I guess ultimately what I'm trying to say to you guys is if you are thinking of starting an online business, try not, if at all possible, to do it by yourself. If no other option, you're going to have to go that way, but be confident that you can make it happen if you're going that route. You're a lot better off trying to form a team of 3 or 4 people with different skill sets. Ultimately, this will allow you to focus on the things that you enjoy doing in the business, the things that you are good at, and ultimately use other team members to apply their skills to the things that they are good at. That would be my tip 3.5 years in. But ultimately, I suppose really today I want to talk about generating traffic to your website. It's amazing the amount of people that think that they can pay what might be a very, very good web development company an awful lot of money and expect that all of a sudden they're going to start making loads of money themselves without doing anything. Nothing could be further from the truth. As slick as a website might be, and as you know, as much good practice as the developers might use in putting it together, the real work begins once the site goes live. There is so much that has to be done to generate traffic, and you got to be prepared to work very hard in order to do that. There's one 6-letter word that I think is very, very important when you are planning your online strategy, and it begins with a G, and it's not genius, it's not Ginger, it's not Galway, it is simply a word called Google. So please do not ignore Google. Google is your friend. Work with it, and you will reap the rewards. Ultimately, what I mean by this is basically 95% in Ireland, 95% of the search engine market share. That's basically people that go to a search engine and key in any kind of key phrase whatsoever. 95% of that is Google in Ireland. Bing has about 2% market share, Yahoo less than 2%. Internationally, the figures are a bit different. In the US, Google have about a 67% market share, Bing about 17%, and Yahoo 12%. So ultimately, I think my own opinion is selling online without installing Google Webmaster Tools, without installing Google Analytics. It's like basically trying to find a needle in a haystack in the dark, and you're blindfolded and you've got no arms and legs and you've drank about 14 pints of Guinness. That's ultimately what it's like. Basically, the Google tools are there to help you. Make sure you install them. Make sure you install the Google Webmaster Tools. Make sure you install Google Analytics. Create Google Plus account. Create Google Places account. These things are very, very important when you're starting out. I guess a few other points then that I'd like to make that are very important if you're at pre-launch stage or you're looking at revamping. It might be a case of the first version of the site failed dramatically, but you're still confident you can make a go out of it. Ultimately, install a sitemap to the root directory of your website. This just makes it a lot easier for the search engines to find the pages, and everything is a lot better structured on your site if you do this. When you're launching, make sure you do a cross-browser check on the website. Some people use Google Chrome, some use Firefox, some use Internet Explorer. Make sure that your website looks okay in all these three. These are the three main ones at least. There's other ones as well. But on top of that, about 25% of the traffic I get to my site now, and this figure is rising all the time, comes from smartphones and from iPads. Just make sure that your site looks okay on these platforms also. And I guess the last thing I really want to talk about in this part of the presentation is make sure that you create user-friendly URLs. It's amazing, there's some really big companies I see here in Ireland, and they're selling online and they're not adapting this strategy. If you own a website like greatshoes.com, and you want to sell, and you're creating a product page for black leather shoes, don't create a URL that reads something like greatshoes.com /product64SG7. Instead, use something like greatshoes.com /black-leather-shoes. Again, it just makes it a lot easier for the search engines to recognize what the content is about, and to index you and basically rank you higher. So basically that's all for this section. I just included a few useful links where you can ultimately see some stats for search engine traffic for Ireland and for the US, and some details on submitting your site to Google. There's a couple of articles there as well, just essential checklists for launching your website. Both of those articles are they're a few years old, but I think pretty much everything that's covered in them are still very relevant. And finally, there's a link at the bottom of the page to the e-commerce Ireland meetup group. You can click on that and you can find out about upcoming events. And ultimately, if you're based in Ireland, or in Dublin in particular, I suppose, you might be able to come along to some events and meet up with people that can help you, and that ultimately that can benefit your business. So that's all for now. In part 2, we're going to get into Purchase.ie itself, where traffic is coming from, and the first talk really on that will be using on-page search engine optimization, like how to create content that will rank high on the search engines. So thank you for your time, and we'll talk again soon.